Okay, so our discussion today pertains to natural convection. So you can see the highlighted text here. There are certain situations in which the fluid motion is produced due to change in density resulting from temperature gradients. The mechanism of heat transfer in these situations is called free or the natural convection. And free convection is the principal mode of heat transfer from pipes, transmission lines, refrigerating coils, hot radiators, and many other practical situation in everyday life. So basically, you understand it that whenever there will be density difference, the heat transfer will take place because of the natural convection or free convection, or the motion of the fluid particles due to the density difference. Now moving to the second paragraph, the movement of the fluid in free convection is due to the fact that fluid particles in the intermediate vicinity of the hot object become warmer than the surrounding fluid, resulting in a local change of density. This we discussed just now. The warmer fluid would replace the colder fluid, creating what is called convection currents. These currents originate when a body force, which is either gravitational, centrifugal, or electrostatic, etc., acts on a fluid in which there are density gradients. The force which induces these convection currents is called buoyancy force, which is due to the presence of density gradient within the body and a body force. So basically, whenever there will be density gradient due to the temperature variation and there is a body force, then this sort of free convection or the natural convection will occur. So in this chapter, we shall consider only those situations in which body force is gravitational and the change in density is brought about by a temperature gradient. Okay, so this is what we have already discussed now. The effect of turbulence on free convection phenomena makes it so complicated that the only way to determine the heat transfer coefficient is through experimentation. So basically, in free convection, we don't get any analytical solution. Okay, there are equations which we have derived, but in most of the cases, the determination of the heat transfer is through experimentation only. Various empirical and semi-empirical correlations for free convection, valid for different configurations and conditions, will be presented in this chapter. So basically, we will be only dealing with the correlation part, and as such, there is no derivation or direct solution of any of the problems. Now we can see it here. The next topic is about the laminar boundary layer equations of free convection on a vertical flat plate. So basically, vertical flat plate is a starting point when we talk about the natural convection. So we should discuss that how the velocity boundary layer and the thermal boundary layer look like in case of a vertical flat plate when it is the laminar boundary. So you can see this particular diagram. I will just reduce the size so that you can see it. Here, what you can see it, this is a vertical flat plate. Okay, you can see the arrow or the hand movement here. This is a vertical flat plate and its surface temperature is Ts here. Okay, so surface temperature, and the surrounding air temperature is T infinity, and the surrounding air is at a density rho infinity. Okay, so what you can find it here is, now the air which is which is in contact with this vertical flat plate, when it comes in contact at this leading edge, okay, the velocity is zero. If I take any other section, say this is the section which we have considered here. So how this the profile of the boundary, the profile velocity profile looks like. So you can see, if as in case of a flat plate, when there was the force convection over a horizontal flat plate, the velocity at the plate will be zero. So same thing is happening here. Okay, so slowly and slowly, because of the momentum transfer, this velocity increases and it follows this particular shape, and somewhere in between at this location it is the maximum velocity, and then once again it starts reducing and becomes zero, or say it is equal to the free stream velocity. But because it's the natural convection, so the surrounding air is at zero velocity, or u infinity is actually equal to 0. So here the velocity becomes 0. So this is the variation of the velocity profile in case of a natural convection phenomena. And in a similar manner, if you will see it here, this from this location, this particular location to this particular location here, this is the value of Ts, or the surface temperature, or the plate temperature. This is in this length is actually showing the surface temperature value. And if you see, this will keep on reducing because of the transfer of the energy to the other layers of the fluid which are flowing parallel to the vertical flat plate. So that is how the temperature profile looks like in the boundary layer, and this value is T infinity. This is smaller. We are considering that Ts is greater than T infinity. So this line here shows the temperature profile. So you can see it here. The dotted line here shows the velocity boundary layer, and this dark line or complete line shows us the thermal boundary layer. Okay, so these two boundary layers are shown here. Delta T is the thickness of the thermal boundary layer, and delta is the thickness of the velocity boundary layer. And one more thing that I would like to tell you is that in the vertical direction, we are considering it to be the x direction, and the velocity in the x direction is u actually. So this you can see the title of this figure is free convection boundary layer on a heated vertical flat plate. So basically we have talked about the laminar boundary layer in case of free convection. So I hope this part is clear to you. Now actually when we will proceed further, you can see it here. This there are various equations which have been derived for this particular case. So the first one is the continuity, second one is the x momentum equation and energy equation. But as you know, in natural convection we are mainly concerned with the empirical relations. So I am going to tell you about those things only, and briefly I will discuss about what are the solution of these equations, what are the values of the Nusselt equation when we solve these three equations actually. So one very important thing that I would like to tell you is that there is a term which is called beta. Now, what is beta here? You can see the hand sign here. So, beta basically is the uh, volumetric coefficient of thermal expansion. Okay, I will enlarge it. Beta is the volumetric coefficient of thermal expansion. So, you should always remember it. And if you will see, this beta is actually given by 1 by T. So, it's not written here, but the value of beta is equal to 1 by T, and its unit will be minus Kelvin actually, uh, or Kelvin raised to power minus 1. Okay, so that is what you need to remember only. Then if you will, yes, you can see it here in this particular equation, you can see it here, beta is equal to 1 by T when we solve it for a perfect gas. Okay, so this is the value of beta. So I am not going about the solution of these equations. I will go directly to the important points only. Now I am going to discuss about the Grashof number, which is the very important number in case of the natural convection. Grashof number we have discussed earlier also. It is the ratio of the buoyancy force to the viscous force. So it's written here. The Grashof number is the ratio of the buoyancy force to the viscous force in a fluid, and this is the formula for the Grashof number. It is given by G beta L cube Ts minus T infinity divided by nu square. This nu actually is the kinematic viscosity. Okay, so this number is of great importance and plays a similar role in free convection as does the Reynolds number in forced convection. So basically, up to a particular value of the Grashof number, the flow will be considered as the laminar flow, and after that it will be in the transition, and then it would be in the turbulent zone actually. So a critical value of the Grashof number is used to indicate the transition from laminar to turbulent flow in the free convection. So it says something about the looking at equation number this to this, believe us that the correlation of free convection would be of the form this, that Nusselt number means local Nusselt number for the whole length of the plate. L stands for the length of the plate. Is a function of Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and Grashof number. Now this uh, means you can say this dependence of the Nusselt number on the Reynolds, Prandtl, and Grashof number is possible when both free and forced convection are occurring simultaneously. Okay, both free and forced convection. However, in case of free convection only, this dependence is of Nusselt number is on Prandtl number and Grashof number. So Reynolds number does not come into picture. So if Nusselt number is dependent upon Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and Grashof number, that means in this type of convection, both free convection is there as well as forced convection is there. So such situation can occur where both forced and free convection are taking place, and there can be such situations also where only we consider that it is only the free convection which is occurring, and in that particular case the Nusselt number will be a function of Prandtl number and Grashof number. Okay, so I hope this part is clear to you. So in fact, the combined effects of free and forced convection must be considered when the ratio of Grashof number divided by Reynolds number square is approximately equal to 1. So this is very, very important. If the ratio of the Grashof number divided by the square of the Reynolds number for the whole length of the plate is approximately equal to 1, then we will say both force and free convection are occurring on the flat plate or the vertical plate. Okay, and if its value is greater than 1, naturally when it is greater than means 1 means the Grashof number is quite large in comparison to the Reynolds number, then it's a situation where the force convection will be negligible, and obviously it would be a case of free convection. Okay, so whenever Grashof number divided by Reynolds number square is very, very large in comparison to 1, it is the case of the free convection. And when the value of the Grashof number divided by the Reynolds number square is very, very small, we can say the free convection currents are neglected, or it is in other terms means that it is the situation when there is forced convection which is taking place. Okay, so that is how we interpret the relationship between the Grashof number and the Reynolds number. If they are of the similar order, then it is a phenomena when both forced and free convection are occurring simultaneously. If the ratio of Grashof number to the Reynolds number square is greater than means very, very large in comparison to 1, then it is the free convection, and if it is very, very less in comparison to 1, then it is the case where there is no free convection, rather there is forced convection. So just to take you back, or you can see it once again what we have discussed till now. Yeah. So we started with the natural convection. Okay, and I told you this is the very important point here, that the heat transfer coefficient is through experimentation only. So most of the cases we will be relying on the experimental results, okay, or the empirical relations or the semi-empirical correlations for free convection, which may be valid in different situations. Then we discussed about this boundary layer, uh, which is the velocity boundary layer, thermal boundary layer in laminar flow case. Okay, we have discussed about it, and then I told you about the value of the beta. Beta is nothing but the volumetric coefficient of thermal expansion. You can see it here, volumetric coefficient of the thermal expansion, and its value is equal to 1 by T. And then we have discussed about the Grashof number, which is equal to G beta L cube Ts minus T infinity divided by nu square, and it is the ratio of buoyancy force to the viscous force. Okay, and then we have discussed that if the Nusselt number is a function of Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and Grashof number, it means it's a combined phenomena of forced and free convection. And if Nusselt number is only a function of Prandtl and Grashof number, then it's a case of free convection. And then we discussed about this Grashof number by Reynolds number square equal to 1 approximately, then it is the forced and free convection, both are means considered. And then the other two cases we have discussed. Now let us discuss about the next parameter, which is the Rayleigh number, RAL. It is sometimes used in instead of Grashof number in free convection, and it is nothing but the product of Grashof number and the Prandtl number. So when we take the product of these two numbers, it becomes G beta L cube Ts minus T infinity V nu into alpha. Okay, so basically when we started with this topic, they have derived the book shows some derivation part of the equations, and then there are certain solutions for which these boundary conditions are there. Okay, these are the boundary conditions, so don't worry about the boundary conditions. This is a, if you know, if you are studying the heat transfer, these are you can think about this in a very simple manner. For example, y is equal to 0, v will be equal to u is equal to 0, means y means, no, it is the horizontal direction. So in the horizontal direction there is no flow, it is in the vertical direction, which is the x direction, and t is equal to ts, that's also true. And when y tends to infinity, u tends to 0. Okay, so it is also evident because if you will take any y direction, which is the horizontal direction, we are talking about the uh, 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 still air actually. So there the velocity of the air will be 0 and the temperature will be equal to T infinity. So what type of solution do we get in such a problem? The solution is of the form, you can see it here. Nusselt number, the functional relationship is shown here. Nusselt number or local Nusselt number is equal to Grashof number, which is the local Grashof number divided by 4 raised to power 1 by 4, and there is some functional dependence upon the Prandtl number. Okay, so that is how, this is the form of the final solution which we get. But this is not the final answer, this is only just showing us the you can say a sort of the dependence upon the dependence of the local Nusselt number on the Grashof number and the Prandtl number. Okay, so now when we were discussing about the force convection, we discussed that there are 4 or 5 methods of solving the energy equation, velocity boundary layer equations. Okay, so or the momentum equation, and then we got certain relationship like delta by x is equal to 5 by Reynolds number, local Reynolds number raised to power 1 by 2, and so on. We derived the values of the delta, which is the boundary layer thickness, and thermal boundary layer thickness. So similarly, and there we discussed about the exact solution. So here what they have done is they have used a integral method of free convection on a vertical flat plate. We won't be discussing about the method, but I am going to discuss the final results. And one important thing is the free convection heat transfer problem can be solved approximately by integral method as described here in section 7.22, means similar was the case in case of force convection. So here what is assumed here is the Prandtl number is assumed as 1 actually here. Okay, the velocity and the thermal boundary layer will become identical. So that is the significance of the Prandtl number. Whenever the Prandtl number value is equal to 1, the velocity and thermal boundary layer will be identical. So this is the a sort of assumption which we are considering here in case of free convection also. Okay, so when we will solving this equation, so all solution is given here, you need not to go through it. We will be finally coming to the final answers. Yes, these are the final answers. So once again, you can see it here. The solution is quite complicated here. The expression for the boundary layer thickness becomes delta by x. X means now we are talking about the vertical direction. Okay, delta by x is equal to 3.93 Prandtl number raised to power minus 1 by 2 into 0.952 plus Prandtl number raised to power 1 by 4, and Grashof number, local Grashof number raised to power minus 1 by 4. So this is the expression for the boundary layer thickness, and where Prandtl number is equal to V by infinity, and GRX is the local Grashof number, which is given by G beta Ts minus T infinity x cube divided by nu square. So this is the local Grashof number. So using these two values, and one more thing, you can see it here in this expression, the Prandtl number is appearing. So that means though there we have considered the Prandtl number be equal to 1, but here we are considering that. Okay, so let us see how they have utilized this equations are later on. Then using the temperature distribution equation, we can get the value of Hx as 2 times k divided by delta. Now what is this delta? This delta is the velocity boundary layer thickness. Okay, so this is the value of the Hx, and from this particular equation I can also get, if I multiply here by x and divide by k, so this equation I will get, this is the local Nusselt number equation here. Okay, and then so basically you don't need to worry about this, you just see it, we get some correlation for the expression for the boundary layer thickness, we get the expression for the Nusselt number, and but ultimately we will be going for the empirical or co-empirical relations. Okay, so this is the equation of the Nusselt number, and if you see here, average heat transfer coefficient for a surface of length L is then becomes, so this is the value of the average heat transfer coefficient. Yes, this equation is very important, and this you should always remember actually. Here you can see the average Nusselt number for the whole length, for the complete length of the plate, is equal to 4 by 3 times that of the local Nusselt number, okay, at x is equal to L. So this is important that the value of the average Nusselt number for the whole plate will be equal to 1.33 times that of the local Nusselt number at x is equal to L. Okay, so this you need to remember. And then from this equation, we can also calculate the value of the average Nusselt number, which is equal to 0.677 Prandtl number raised to power 1 by 2, 0.952 Prandtl number 1 minus 1 by 4, Grashof number raised to power 1 by 4. And if you consider the Prandtl number as 0.7, now 0.7, when we say this value of the Prandtl number is in the case of air actually. So air has a Prandtl number value which is equal to 0.7. Then this equation is simplified to, you can see here, this is the local Nusselt number which is equal to 0.378 Grashof number, local Grashof number is to power 1 by 4, and average Nusselt number will be equal to 0.504 Grashof number raised to power 1 by 4. Now, what is the validity of this solution? The validity is for when the product of Grashof number into Prandtl number is less than 10 raised to power 9. So it means whenever the value of the Grashof number and Prandtl number product is less than 10 raised to power 9, it is the laminar flow. And in that case of laminar flow, we, for air only, the value of the Nusselt number, local Nusselt number is given by 0.378 Grashof number raised to power 1 by 4, and Nusselt number raised to power 0.504 into Grashof number, local means total Grashof number for the whole length raised to power 1 by 4. And what it says here is these results are 5% higher than the exact solution of free convection problem obtained numerically by Schmidt and Beckmann in 1930. So this analysis which we are doing, this is basically a analysis, integral analysis of the boundary layer, and the results which we are getting here are not the exact results. Okay, so these are 5% higher than the exact solutions which have been given by the Schmidt and Beckmann. So it doesn't matter because in heat transfer, in the situations or the type of the shapes that you get in real in the practical life is never either flat or circular or say cylindrical. The shapes will be quite different actually. So we have to go for some empirical relations for such shapes only. Okay, so these are very simplified relations for a simple shapes actually. Okay, now what is to be seen here is that the fluid properties in the above equations are to be calculated at the film temperature. Now, what is this film temperature? You know, the temperature of the flat plate or the vertical flat plate is Ts, whereas the surrounding air temperature is T infinity. So, film temperature is given by Ts plus T infinity divided by 2. So, whenever we have to calculate any properties, we will have to take this value of the temperature, which is known as the film temperature. Okay, and the value of beta I have told you is volumetric expansion coefficient. That beta will be equal to 1 by Tf. So whenever we are calculating the value of beta, we will be taking its value as 1 by Tf, and Tf is the film temperature. Okay, then it talks about the transition and turbulence. So you can see it here, when the value of critical Reynolds number, critical Rayleigh number, which is actually Grashof number, local Grashof number into Prandtl number, is equal to 10 raised to power of 9. It is basically the flow is basically the laminar flow. This I have already told you in the validity condition here also. You can see here, this is the validity condition for the laminar flow. But if this value, you can see the results of the previous sections are valid only for Grashof number into Prandtl number less than 10 raised to power 9. So this is the validity for the laminar flow. If the Grashof number into Prandtl number product is greater than 10 raised to power 9, then the flow becomes in goes into the transition stage or in the turbulence in free convection. Okay, and the analysis of turbulent flow free convection is very complicated process involving a great deal of empiricism. Okay, so basically we will be going for the empirical relations in that particular case also. So what you can see here is this is the numerical problem which is given here. So you can see here there is a long plate which is hung vertically in the air at 27 degrees Celsius. It is 30-meter long plate. Its temperature is maintained at 77. Calculate the boundary layer thickness at the trailing edge of the plate. If a similar plate is placed in wind tunnel and air is blown over it at a velocity of 4 meter per second, estimate the boundary layer thickness at its trailing edge. So it's only trying to compare the value of the boundary layer thickness in case of both the cases. So you can see it here. The first thing is to calculate the film temperature, 77 plus 27 divided by 252, and corresponding to this value of 52, the properties are seen from the tables actually. So this is the value of the thermal conductivity. This is kinematic viscosity, which you can see from the tables. This is the Prandtl number. This also has been seen from the tables. So as I have already told you that for air, the value of the Prandtl number is somewhere in the range of 0.7. So it will be hovering around this particular value when the temperature changes actually. And this beta is 1 by TF. So here you have to add 273 plus 52 and then calculate the value of TF in Kelvin and then take the reciprocal of TF, which this temperature when you convert it into Kelvin, then you will get this value of the beta, which is Kelvin raised to power minus 1. So in free convection, what you can do is you can calculate the Grashof number first of all to see whether the flow is laminar or not. So here all the values are known to us. G is known, beta is known, T infinity, L, nu square, all these values are known to us. So we have calculated the value of Grashof number. It is less than and when you will multiply it by Prandtl number also, it will be even lesser than this value. And you know, if this Grashof number into Prandtl number value is less than 10 raised to power 9, it's the laminar flow. So and uh, Rayleigh number is nothing but the Grashof number into Prandtl number, which have been calculated here in this equation. So it is less than 10 raised to power 9. So it means it is the laminar boundary layer actually. Okay. The thickness of the boundary layer at the trailing edge is obtained from this equation by putting x is equal to 0.3. X is equal to 0.3 because this is the length of the plate, which is given in the numerical problem. So you can see it here. This is the value of the length of the plate. So we want the value of the delta at x is equal to 30 centimeter. So this is the same equation which we discussed. So delta, you can say it is delta x or delta L because now in this particular case x and L are same actually. So this equation has been utilized and the value of the delta comes out to be 1.52. And then in the second case they have calculated the value of the delta in case of the forced convection for the same plate. So Reynolds number have been calculated. Boundary layer is laminar because this value in case of flat plate has to be less than 5 into 10 raised to power 5 for the flow to be laminar, and it is 10 raised to power 4. So we have calculated the value of delta L by L 5 raised to power 5 divided by Reynolds number under root. So you can see it is 5.8 millimeter. So it's very small in comparison to the delta in case of the free convection. So you can see the difference between the two boundary layers. So always remember that the thickness of the boundary layer in case of free convection is quite large as comparison to that of forced convection. If you will see here, if I consider this as a 6 millimeter, then that is 15 millimeter actually. Okay, so it's nearly a difference of 2.5 times. Now it says determine the average heat transfer coefficient for natural and forced convection. So once again, once we know the equations, we can put all the values. This is the for the case of the free convection, and this is the average Nusselt number. This was the equation. Uh, so you can put all the values, and from here you can calculate the value of the heat transfer coefficient. Similarly, for forced convection, this is the equation 0.664. Reynolds number is for 1 by 2, Prandtl number is for 1 by 3, and here you can see that the like in case of free convection, the boundary layer thickness is higher, but its heat transfer coefficient is smaller. Whereas in case of forced convection, the boundary layer thickness is smaller, but its average heat transfer coefficient is nearly three times that of the free convection. Okay, so in yeah, forced convection, the heat transfer coefficient is much larger than in case of free convection. Now there are empirical correlations for the natural convection. So you can see it here. There are different geometries. Okay, it is seen that the correlations are generally of the form Nusselt number. Average Nusselt number is equal to Grashof number for the whole length of the plate. Prandtl number raised to power n, or we can also say that it is equal to C, which is some sort of constant, into Rayleigh number raised to power n. Now it says for isothermal walls. So it means if it's a plate which is isothermal means the temperature is constant throughout the length of the plate. Then the value of the n, this value of n is typically 1 by 4 for the laminar flow and 1 by 3 for the turbulent flow. The characteristic length to be used in Nusselt or Grashof number depends upon the geometry of the problem, which L is the height of the vertical plate or cylinder, and it is the diameter for the horizontal cylinder. So in case of vertical plate or cylinder, the height will be taken as the you can say the characteristic length. Okay, whereas if it is a horizontal cylinder, in that particular case we will have to consider the diameter. And all the properties in equation 8.43, this equation, are to be calculated or evaluated at the film temperature, that is Tf is equal to Ts plus T infinity divided by 2. Okay, so once again, as I told you, we have to deal with number of the empirical relations. Now there are various uh, empirical relations which are given here. So you can see it here. For vertical plate of length L, the most extensively used correlation are of the form. Now there are these various equations. You can see this is valid for Rayleigh number varying between 10 raised to power 4 to 10 raised to power 9. And if the Rayleigh number varies between 10 to 9 and between 10 to 12, then this is the correlation for the Nusselt number. Okay. So the first case is for the laminar flow. It's evident because the value of the Rayleigh number is less than 10 raised to power 9, and this correlation 8.45 is valid for the turbulent flow. Now it says Churchill and Chu have shown the following correlations which accurately fit with the experimental observations here. So you can use this equation also. So there are number of correlations which are available. Different scientists worked in this area and they have given their own correlations. So you need not to stick to only one correlation. You can use any correlation which is known to you. Okay. Similarly, the above correlations are valid both for constant flow and constant heat flow and constant wall temperature. Means the whatever the equations which are written here, means this Churchill and Chu or these above equations which are for the Nusselt number, they are valid for constant heat flow, means constant heat flux case, as well as for the constant wall temperature both. Okay, so that is what I wanted to tell you. Now let us proceed to the, yeah, this is a graph which is between the Rayleigh number and the log of Nusselt number. So you can see it here. It shows the value of the Rayleigh number here, and it shows the log of the Nusselt number. So you can easily find out for a vertical flat plate what is the value of the Nusselt number, and from the Nusselt number you can calculate the value of the heat transfer coefficient in case of a vertical flat plate, whether it is the case of laminar flow, turbulent flow, or the transition. So once again, this is the numerical problem which is given here. Similar numerical problem. Uh, Metal plate is there which is vertical. Its temperature is given as 161. Okay. Within the oven, there is at a temperature of 93 degree and 1 atmosphere. Assuming the natural convection conditions hold near the plate, estimate the mean heat transfer coefficient and the rate of the heat transfer per unit width of the plate. So quite simple. You can go for any of the correlations which you have studied. Okay. So here what they have done is They have used this equation. First of all, they have calculated the value of the Rayleigh number, which is 3.72 into 10 raised to the power 8. So it means the flow is laminar. So you can also go for the graph which we have just discussed actually. From the graph, you can directly calculate the value. Or here, what they have done is they have used this particular relation. This is equation 8.42. Equation 8.42. Let us see. I think it is Churchill and Chu correlation only. 8.42. So yes, this is the equation. Okay, this is the Rayleigh number equation only, not any other equation. So let us proceed further. Okay. Okay, using equation 8.47. So 8.47, let us see it once again. Yes, this is the equation 8.47, which is the Churchill and Chu equation only. And from this equation, they have calculated the value of the Nusselt number. Okay. So this is the value of the Nusselt number comes out to be 71.87, and the heat transfer coefficient comes out to be 3.98. It means approximately 4 watt per meter square Kelvin. And then they have calculated the heat transfer, which is coming out to be 165.18 using this particular equation for per unit width of the plate. And then they have used the other equation also, in which they have used this particular correlation, which is based on Nusselt number into C. This is the value of C, Reynolds number raised to power 1 by 4, and calculated the value of the Nusselt number. And from here, they have also calculated the value of the uh, heat transfer actually, which comes out to be, I think there is some mistake. Yeah, Rayleigh number. So it should not be watt actually. It should be the value of the Nusselt number. So it is 71.87 in the earlier case. Now it is 81.93. So this W is actually a wrong notion here. It should not be here. It is the value of the Nusselt number. So using both these equations, we get different values of the Nusselt number. And then once again, there is another problem. Okay. So similar type of the analysis has been done. Now suppose there are horizontal plates. Till now we were talking about the vertical plates. So now there are different correlations for the horizontal plates. You can see it here, whether the plate is facing upwards or downwards. Okay, upwards or downwards. So that is to be taken care. And characteristic length of the plate is to be taken as the surface area of the plate divided by the perimeter of the plate. So this is the value of the L in this that particular case. Upper surface is heated or the lower surface is cooled, then we will apply these two correlations which are given here. And if it is a different otherwise, you will be using this particular correlation. So once again, there are numerical problems here, so you can go through these numerical problems. Okay, quite simple. Only thing is you have to follow the particular empirical relation, and you must understand what type of situation is there. Okay, so let us see it here. Now there are inclined surfaces also. If you want, you can study this. This is not in your course actually. Okay, so let us see the vertical cylinders. Yes, vertical cylinders, you can uh, the relations given in section 8.61 for the vertical plates can also be used for vertical cylinders of height L, provided the boundary layer thickness delta is small compared to the diameter of the cylinder. The condition under which a vertical cylinder can be treated as a vertical flat plate is this one. Okay, so this you need to remember. If it is a vertical cylinder, you can check this equation that diameter divided by L has to be greater than or equal to 35 divided by Grashof number raised to power 1 by 4. So if this condition is satisfied, you can consider the vertical cylinder to be behaving as a flat plate, vertical flat plate. Okay, and then you can apply the equations which we have applied for the flat plate, vertical flat plate. So this analysis, some numerical problems are given here also. If it is the case of a horizontal cylinders, you can once again use Nusselt number based on the diameter is equal to C into Reynolds number, Rayleigh number raised to power n. Okay. Now there are different values of C and n, so which are given in this particular table here. This is the value of the Rayleigh number based on the diameter. 10 raised to power minus 10 to 10 raised to power minus 2. This is the value of the constant and this is the value of the n. Okay, you can see this particular equation. Here, Nusselt number based on the diameter is C into Rayleigh number raised to power n. So these are the various ranges of the Rayleigh numbers in this table which are shown here. So for each range, you are given with a particular value of the C and a particular value of the 1. So you have to calculate the value of the Rayleigh number, see in which range it lies, and accordingly you have to choose the value of C and N for the horizontal cylinder. Then there are once again for the horizontal circular cylinders, which is valid for a large Rayleigh number range. It is this equation will be valid. Here in the above table, you can see for small ranges, the value of C and N changes. Okay, but here you can see this value of Rayleigh number based on diameter. If it varies between 10 raised to power minus 5 to 10 raised to power 12, so it's a huge range of the Rayleigh number. Then you can use this particular correlation which is given here, which is known as the Churchill and Chu correlation. And for small diameter wires in the range, Rayleigh number is usually very small and the film type of flow pattern is observed, and this correlation is to be used. So once again, you can't remember these correlations and you just have to go for the uh, tables only, depending upon the situation, what type of the situation, based on the whether it is the means situation means what type of shape is there, what is the Rayleigh number, and which equation can be used uh, practically for that particular case. You naturally have to refer to certain tables, heat transfer tables for natural convection. Maybe sometimes if you even if in forced convection you have seen there can be numerous equations. Right now we haven't discussed about the flow of the liquid metal. Means we haven't discussed about the forced convection with liquid metal and free convection with liquid metal. The moment the fluid changes, the equation also changes. Okay, so for liquid metal, because the Prandtl number is very small, so the equations will be different actually. So similar numerical problems may be given on this particular uh, type of questions. Then this is for the spheres. So for the spheres also there are correlations for the natural convection. So the Rayleigh number range has been given here to be varying between 1 to 10 raised to power 5, and the Prandtl number is equal to 1. So for this correlation can be used in that case. Okay. So then I think now these are the simplified equations for the air. Okay. Now, particularly you can see for the air means the value of the Prandtl number is approximately equal to 0.7. So you can see here the first case is the vertical plate or the cylinder. So these are the correlations for the laminar flow and these are the correlations for the turbulent flow. Similarly, for the horizontal cylinder, this is the correlation for the Rayleigh number between 10 raised to power 4 and 10 raised to power 9, and this is for the turbulent case. The average heat transfer coefficient is 1.25 into delta T raised to power 1 by 3. So you can see here the value of the heat transfer coefficient is for turbulent flow is directly proportional to the delta T, or say Ts minus T infinity, and raised to power n. N will depend upon the, and here if you will see the value of n is 1 by 3 in first three cases, and in heated surface facing downwards here it is equal to delta T by L raised to power 1 by 4. So naturally you will have to, no doubt, in case of natural convection you will have to look for the particular empirical correlation or empirical relation. Only then you can solve the numerical problem. Okay, that is what I wanted to tell you about the natural convection today. So this chapter on the natural convection is finished. So what you can do is you solve some numerical problem, 5 6 numerical problems, so you get the idea how to means go about this sort of numerical problems. This will help you in the long run. So any questions if you want to ask, you can ask me. This is what I wanted to tell you today. Any questions?